I added some stats and like some other information about mental health resources and stuff.
Awesome. I got a tiny bit of that, but yeah, great.
I added some stats and like some other information. Some
Did I lose you? You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know how to display that floating palette. I don't understand. So it looks like the video switches back and forth. I'll have to figure that out. I gotta truly put time on my calendar to figure that out. All right.
We need some nerds to help us.
Nerds!
Nerds.
Okay, let me.
One of the favorite memes I made was Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
He's sitting there yelling, nerds! But instead I put dorks just to tease people.
All right. So we'll go back to the chat. Just because remember it's too hard for us to follow it along at the same time. If anyone's watching, I mean, no one's watching us yet, so.
Yep, I kind of keep an eye on it as we go, just looking. But yeah, it's goofy if we comment on it.
Stats and like some other information about. All right. I think we're ready to go. Oh, did I? Yeah, we are recording. Okay, cool.
Tuesdays. There it is. Hello, people.
Hello, people. There's 3 people watching. One is me.
One is me.
Welcome, people. We got to get a professional setup here, I think.
Amateurs.
Because we're rolling in that, that podcast money.
Both dollars.
That's right. So, anything else that any notes we want to go over before we start?
I'm good.
All right, dude. I thought of you when I read this. It says, I'd make an Eminem joke, but the chances of that are pretty slim and a bit shady.
Nice. I like it.
All right.
As sweet as candy.
All right, let's go ahead and get rolling. Welcome to episode number 49 of the Thrash Report for Wednesday, May 18th, 2021. Again, episode 49. We're coming up on our big 50th episode, and we'll have some fun nuggets to talk about coming up here. Before we get rolling, I just want to again thank our sponsors. So Discover CBD Twin Cities. They have a great offer for Thrash Report listeners. They offer CBD products at the highest quality. Again, their products are third-party lab tested. They're manufactured in an ISO 7 clean room. They're organically grown and sourced from Southern Colorado. Again, it's really cool. Every one of their products has like a QR code on it, and you can actually snap that, and it brings up all of the stats of all of the third-party lab data from when it was tested. It's pretty impressive, pretty cool stuff. We encourage you to try the relaxing, soothing, tasty line of Delta 8 edibles. If you want to go ahead and try that, go to discovercbdtwincities.com. Use the code THRASH for 20% off your order and free shipping. Evidently, the stuff is wicked popular. I know they had mentioned to me to continue this ad, and their Delta 8 stuff does sell out, and they got to keep getting more. So pretty cool. Thank you to Discover CBD Twin Cities for their support. My name is Chris. Thank you so much for being here on episode 49. I'd like to turn it over to my co-host, my partner in crime, podcast buddy, Jim Osborne. Jim, what's going on?
Buddy. Hey,
Buddy.
Chris. Good evening. I don't want to have a joke right here because I'm going to talk about something very serious that's serious to me and so many people in the world. That is, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I personally live with depression. I don't say that some people say you suffer from depression, but I read somewhere and that stuck with me that I live with it. I don't suffer from it. I live with it. I deal with it. I understand it. I understand how it affects me. So I live with it like so many others. And being that it's Mental Health Awareness Month, I thought it would be nice and proper to just bring awareness. We've talked about here before, but it's very personal to me, and metal music has really helped me out dealing with it, among many other things. I could get very deep into it, but maybe a little bit later, or we'll see where we go. But it's a Mental Health Awareness Month, and if you personally have it, keep fighting. If you don't have it and don't understand it, that's an issue too. There's people out there that don't have any kind of mental illness and don't understand other people that do, or like what other people go through. So I imagine it's super hard for those people to understand what a friend or a loved one is going through. So it's, do some reading up on it. I think, Chris, you've got some stats to share. And
mental illness is something that we really can't take lightly. I think we want to break the stigma, right? It's okay to talk about it. 1 in 5 adults and children in America do experience mental illness. 1 in 5. I mean, that's crazy. And believe it or not, depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide. We do encourage you that, again, whether or not it's you, a loved one, reach out and get help if you feel as though you need to. And you can always, anytime, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline if you feel as though you or a loved one needs some help. And that's 1-800-273-TALK. One thing I also want to mention, metal helps us get through, but it's also important too to look at some other things that can really help with mental illness. One, exercise. That's one thing that you and I both have kind of talked about. There's a few listeners too that are into fitness and some things like that. Whether you're doing yoga, aerobics, anything, right? Exercising definitely does help. Engaging in social contact, especially in these weird times where you're working hybrid, models. Sometimes you're at home, you're isolated. Really engaging in social contact can help. Another thing that often, people always are kind of, they try to brag a little bit, where it's like, oh man, I worked 10 hours, I worked 12 hours. Oh, I only got 5 hours of sleep. That's not a badge of honor. So really it's important to get the adequate sleep and on a regular schedule. Be well rested. It's healthy for you and it's healthy for your brain. Another thing too is really talk to a trusted friend or family member. One thing that it's interesting, a lot of people that when they want to talk to someone that, if they feel as though someone is having suicidal thoughts or they're going through some mental health or depression issues, they're almost like afraid to talk to them. They don't want to say something that may, be a trigger, or they don't want to make them uncomfortable. But talking to them is what you have to do, and there's some great resources out there on how to best support those people that may be going through depression or other mental health issues. And some of the other things too is just being mindful and maybe practice meditation. There's meditation, there's yoga, there's other mindful and relaxation techniques. Absolutely, we encourage you to do whatever you can do if you do feel that way. And again, anything that we can do to help, please let us know on any of our social channels too. So thank you for that. We wanted to just take a moment and recognize May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and let's break the stigma. It's okay to talk about it.
Yep. And going on that, you mentioned, having people talk about it, and that's been huge for me. Another part of it is just sometimes you just need to listen to, not say a thing. Just, someone's opening up, just listen and just let them speak. And I know when I started back in 2011, had a pretty low point, and I started speaking about it and sharing my experiences. And it's amazing how many other people came out and started sharing their experiences. Like, the biggest thing I got all the time was like, you have depression, but you're always smiling and joking and laughing. Yeah, that's the face part of it, but
it's a mask, man.
Yep. So the more I talked about it, the better I feel. So I encourage other people to talk. And there's sometimes I don't want to talk about it, but I feel that if I'm encouraging others to talk about it, I need to talk about it. And as far as breaking the stigma, you just go for it. I mean, people say it's courageous to talk about it, and that's one viewpoint. I don't really think it's courage. I think you just gotta be honest with yourself and get it out there and be vulnerable. And I've tried a bunch of different things. I went to therapy for 6 or 8 months, and I was kind of expecting a cure, but it didn't cure me. But what it did do is give me a huge sense of who I am and what triggers I have. And so once I understood that, I knew myself a lot better, so I could avoid things or surround myself with things that make me happy. And, I did medication for a year, and that didn't do anything for me. The best thing I did, like you mentioned before, was exercise. So, I mean, if I'm exercising and eating a good nutritional diet, I mean, depression can't fuck with me. And so it's different for everybody, but there's, like you said, a lot of resources out there. And
yep. And we'll have some links in the show notes for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Let's go ahead and get the episode rolling. We're going to start by jumping into the headlines, and we got some awesome stuff to talk about. One of the first things that we want to mention is it's our 50th episode, man.
Oh, so yeah.
Coming up next week, May 25th, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, we are going to have our podcast live. And if you want to join us, let us know. Go ahead and send us an email, thethrashreport@gmail.com. Tell us that you would like to join in the fun. Bring a metal story that you want to share. It's going to be just a wicked fun time. Having, again, all of us metal nerds talking about metal for an hour. It's going to be a really fun time. So we want to thank everyone for their support getting us this far.
Yes.
Here's to 500 more, Rand.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, yeah, that's going to be a great time. And we've already gotten some responses. So we've got people lined up, and we will certainly take some more. So let us know if you want to be in. And like Chris said, bring a metal story or just a topic you want to bring up, or opinions, questions, things you want to ask, whatever. Bring it.
Awesome. Or maybe you have a guilty pleasure and you do like listening to Nelson. You can say that if you want to. I don't know. I was trying to think of I was like Winger, but I've actually already told people that I like Winger. Anyway, so yeah.
Break the Winger stigma, man.
Awesome.
It's okay.
That's right. It's okay. So the next story, this kind of like came out of nowhere. I didn't even know about it. This dropped like a couple weeks ago. The biography of Metallica called Enter Night, a biography of Metallica by Mick Wall. And, portrayed as like the inventors of thrash, where like Slayer, Anthrax, Megadeth followed Metallica, but Metallica kind of led the way and kind of pushed it to a whole nother level, right? And they went on to eventually become these superstar rockers, right?
Oh yeah.
Metallica is the fifth largest selling artist of all time, selling over 100 million records worldwide.
Yes.
Um, their music has extended beyond the reach of just rock and metal. It's even creeping into pop and mainstream. They went from, the speed metal roots to MTV when they first hit that single with Enter Sandman. It kind of catapulted them to stardom. Until now, there really hasn't been like a critical, like authoritative, deep depth portrait of the band. And so Mick Wall, the author of this, has interviews with band members, again, all band members, record company, well, those that are still with us today, band members, record company execs, roadies, fellow musicians, all these people, all these resources. So this really does go into the different incarnations of the band. You get really deep into some of the personalities of the key members back then and presently, especially those two founding members, Ulrich and Hetfield. So this is the definitive word on like the biggest metal band in the planet, and I'm excited. I purchased the audiobook just last night, and I was like, I didn't even like look at it. I'm like, what the heck? There's a book. So I went to the books app. I'm like, there it is. Boom! I bought it. 17 hours, bro.
Nice.
I was like, holy shit. So yeah, I haven't
that one.
Yeah, so I haven't started listening to it yet, but yeah, it'll be cool. Hopefully yeah, it'll be fun. So
I thought it was based off of my beer here.
Yeah, that's right. Enter Night Pilsner.
Night beer, yeah.
What is a Pilsner anyway? Do you know? Do you know the difference? Do you know what it is? What makes it a Pilsner versus an ale? Are they different things?
Yeah, it's kind of your baseline regular light. Well, it's not a light beer, but it's like your yellow in color, not very heavy or thick. If you go into ales, you get a little more hoppy flavoring and stuff, and so it's a lighter color and a lighter feeling, tasting beer. So this is probably a load or reload type.
Sure. It's funny. Yeah.
Their whiskey is probably more of a Black Album, Kill 'Em All.
Yes.
If we're gonna rate them album wise.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I don't know if I mentioned this. So my dad, when he was still around, he worked at one of the breweries here for 27 years or something, and it was funny because at the time there was like commercials running for, and I don't remember the beer, but like some of the things they talked about was like, the color of the beer, and it's like, oh, it's double roasted, blah blah blah, whatever, to get this golden color or whatever. And my dad's like, no, they just add coloring to it. It was pretty funny. And there's like everything from like the foam, like how much it foams, like all that. Like he goes, we just make that. It's like they add foam to it. I don't know how much that's real or what, if my dad was just yanking me, but it was kind of interesting because kind of had the inside scoop.
Yeah, and since we're talking about beer, a little follow up to previous episodes. I've been mentioning it, but here is the Pantera Golden Ale.
Yeah, how was it?
Well, like I mentioned before, it's a golden ale, so it's not really my style. I'm more into the porters and stouts, the heavier, dark stuff. I like everything heavy. So this is again a little on the lighter side, so straight out of the can into a glass. It tasted fine. It'd be a hot summer day, it would taste good, but I used it to chase a Bloody Mary, and it was delicious that way.
All right, good to know.
Yeah, but now I have a collectible, so it's worth it.
That's awesome. This next thing I wanted to bring up, and I'm sure you have some additional details on it, but we're starting to book shows.
Yes.
And this is your local venue there in La Crosse, the Warehouse. What do we know, man?
Yeah, it's not too much more than what you just said. I know the warehouse posted last night that they are looking for people to provide booking info and get shows going for starting as early as June and going through July, August, and obviously if things keep going great after that too. So looking for announcements of shows starting up again at the lacrosse warehouse, and I can't wait to get back there. So if you're looking to play some shows too, hit up the warehouse.
Yeah, and if you want to support these local venues too,
Yes.
again, we'll have a link here. Right now, they have the One Year Dark fundraiser where you can donate through via PayPal.
Yep. I have a few times, and it's a worthy cause. Like I've said before, it's an amazing place. It's it's mainly, well, it's all ages. It's not like geared towards anyone. It's tons of kids go there. The crowds are mainly kids, and it's just a good, safe place for kids to go. And so it's a great cause to support.
Awesome. Um, this next story is kind of crazy. Something about a tribute band
Yeah.
that gets a global audience. What's going on here, man?
Yeah. Texas band Overt Enemy, they started as a Slayer tribute band, and they've been, I think, since 2011, 2012 or so, they've been playing Slayer covers, and then decided to, I think once the pandemic hit, obviously they weren't going out and playing. So like every other band, they decided, well, let's write some stuff. And they wrote originals instead of Slayer songs because they've already been written. But yeah, so they're popular down in that area, and they've got actually really popular down there, but they're reaching all over the place. And um, they say their originals are like obviously Slayer type and Pantera, Sepultura. So I've checked it out. It's great stuff. So check out Overt Enemy from
Nice.
Texas.
And it says that Overt Enemy, they take their name from a song of the same name on the 1998 album.
Diabolus and Musica.
There you go. Nice. Man, I can't stump you, man.
You can
That's
try.
awesome. So congrats to them, man. That's awesome. Really cool.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's going to kind of wrap up some of the news. Jim, do you have anything before we jump into releases?
I do not. I think we
Awesome.
covered everything well.
Cool. We actually have quite a few releases to talk about today. The first one we're going to talk about is a British death metal thrash unit called The Bleeding. The Bleeding was formed in 2010, and they now have a brand new 7-track EP called Rise Into Nothing. This title track has guest vocals by James McBain from the band Hellripper. I don't know them, but I think I may have to go check them out. The
And the
Bleeding,
name alone.
yeah, they do take influence from those thrash greats, right? Slayer, Morbid Angel, Death, Creator, Pestilence. That's kind of what they're talking about. They've had 2 full-length albums, and this next EP, Rise to Nothing, is pretty badass. I listened to it a couple times today. It's really cool, and this artwork. I didn't catch the name of the artist. It's some artist that's done some other work too. It looks pretty badass. So, The Bleeding, thrash metal, death metal. Check them out, man.
It's a good marriage.
That's right. That's right.
Thrashy death. Till
Awesome.
death do us thrash.
Thrash. Dude, this next one um, is it's a band named Crimson Caliber. This is a 4-piece thrash band from Alberta, Canada. I don't have a Canadian accent. I don't know. They're from Alberta, Canada, and they were formed in 2016. This is their debut full-length album called Covenant Tyrannus. Tyrannus, yeah. And I mean, it's good. I listened to just a couple tracks. It's kind of their main theme there. Again, it's thrashy. Their main theme is kind of like anarchy, post-apocalyptic, dystopian, war type. Like I know the track I was listening to, I can't remember the title of the track, but it was, nuclear war, like Holocaust kind of thing. But
Yep.
um,
Common
yeah,
theme.
pretty cool. So again, another new Slash, a new slasher, man, a new thrash four piece. Again, their first album. Go check them out, man. You know, we got to help these new bands out.
Yeah, for sure.
This next one was one that you actually reminded me of. I listened to it all last weekend.
Nice.
Artillery. This is the thrash metal band from. Um, you know what? I don't. If you're Danish, where are you from? I don't know.
Denmark.
Denmark, dude. My geography is so bad. So the Danish thrash metal band Artillery. This is their 10th studio release. Obviously, the name of the album, 10. Um, and really, they've actually been coined as kind of, they participated in kind of the early development of thrash and that style that came out of there, like with Corner and Voivod and even like Sabbath and Megadeth even. This is, they released 3 full-length albums and toured extensively like through the 80s and then like the beginning of the 90s. Then they disbanded, and they disbanded in 91, and they didn't get back together for years. And so this album, it's awesome. Again, like I said, I listened to it all last weekend. I was cleaning the garage and stuff, organizing, so I was outside a lot. And this one was I listened to it several times. And
did your neighbors like it?
What's that?
Did your neighbors like it too?
Yeah, right. Which it's funny you say that, because I have like a wireless Bluetooth speaker out there, and then I was going through the garage. I was like, I found another one, and I was like, well, this one is bigger and louder. I got to use this one. Oh, so yeah, it got pretty loud.
Nice.
So New Noise magazine actually says this is basically the best. They feel as though it is the best melodic thrash power metal record of 2021. Oof. I'm saying a lot, man. I mean, granted, it is May, so we still have some months left. But dude, it's up there. I mean, it's really good. So go ahead and check it out, man. I think it's really good. This the one song too that I was just listening to earlier today was what's it called? Turn Up the Rage, or Bring the Rage, or something. I don't know. Something with rage in it. It's pretty awesome. Go check out Artillery.
Yeah, I haven't heard much of them over the years, but I'm trying to remember. I think I saw them with Onslaught like 2012, 13, something up in the cities. But I'm pretty sure it was them, but that was an awesome show. So yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Cool, man. Cool.
I need to apologize for this segment. I don't have any new releases.
That's all right, man.
You're picking up my slack. I didn't dig into anything this week, so
it's all good, man. It's all good.
I actually went back in time a lot this week instead of to the new stuff.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we got some really good ones for back in the day. This one actually, it piqued my interest. One, because just the cover looked cool. I didn't know anything about this band called Mr. Misery. This was a Brighter Side of Death was the name of this album, and they were classified as horror metal. Yeah, so 2018 they were 2018 they were formed out of Sweden, and this is kind of this horror metal modern type of sound. It basically says that it's got some really cool like courses, that catchy, sing along kind of a thing, right? It says it brings kind of that old school rock and roll feel with kind of the sleaze and aggressive modern metal, and it's really mixed together to create a really unique sound. And so I was like, oh, cool, I'm gonna check these guys out. So I went and listened to a couple. They got some tracks on YouTube, and it's kind of. I mean, it's not bad. It's just it's like radio friendly. It's like it reminds me of like Black Veil of Brides, maybe. I mean, some of that stuff is good. Like the guitar is good, but it's very like bubblegum. Like I don't even know. I mean, even the photos of them, they all got like white faces and shit. I mean, they look badass, but yeah, the music's pretty like I'm I'm Mr. Misery, but I'm all happy and go lucky, and I want to dance.
Yeah, you hear horror metal, you don't really think of radio friendly.
Yeah, it was. At least that's my take on it. Again, I invite everyone to kind of check it out on their own. We'll go
Yeah,
ahead and have a clip in the podcast. So it yeah, check it out, Mr. Misery. Let us know what your thoughts are.
yeah, you said they're from Sweden, and that
Yep.
triggered a memory of mine that yesterday, May 17th, is set in Mai, which is Norwegian Independence Day, I think.
Oh,
I should know, but because my mom and her whole family are like 100% Norwegian and stuff, so there's a lot of that in the family. And there's a group called Sons of Norway, which like celebrates Norwegian tradition and everything. And
hmm.
I told my grandpa a few years ago that they were thinking about letting the Swedes in, but they'd have to change their name to the Sons of Bitches. So,
That was good. I like that.
little tangent, but
That's awesome. Yeah, so I think that was all we had for releases. Again, we'll have links to our playlist on YouTube for this week's episode. Next, we're going to jump into some concerts and events, and believe it or not, we actually have some. Like, what is happening?
like live and in person, or more like live streaming things.
These are live in person, man. Believe it or not. So at least the ones that we talked about. So one of the first ones, I think when they first dropped, I know I sent you a text right away. I'm like, hey man, do you want to go to Louisville with me? Yeah. So the Louder Than Life Festival. This is at in Louisville, Kentucky, September 23rd to the 26th. 2 nights of Metallica.
Yes.
They also have, Anthrax is there, Seven Dust is there, Killswitch Engage, Gojira, Avatar. I mean, they do. I mean, another again, I would be super excited to. Judas Priest also is one of the big ones for Sunday. So this definitely has a draw, and it has enough of a draw where I spent way too much time researching on like how to pull this off.
Yeah, he sent me that text, and immediately I'm like, oh, Louisville? Like, no, there's no way. And then we were done, and I was just walking around, and I went, wait a minute. It seems like it's so far away. So then I, went on Google Maps, and it's like 9 hours. Like, I don't know. That'd be tough, but
well, you know what?
it'd be fun.
For real, dude. Like I was looking at, again, I don't have my camper anymore, but I was looking at renting a camper because they had camper RV campsites still available when I looked. All the tent campsites were sold out. Yeah, so I mean, we can talk offline, but dude, it's. I mean, 2 nights of Metallica and Judas Priest and Anthrax. Come on, son.
Helmet.
Dude, Spirit Box, Code Orange.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a pretty rockin' festival. So September, it's gonna be, dude. You know what? It's gonna be a crazy freaking fall. Like there's gonna be so much stuff happening, and that goes to the next show. This is what's that?
This one's a little closer.
Yes, a little closer. This is one where I've been there a handful of times at Rockfest in Cadott, Wisconsin. Again, this is happening in July. Again, Ram Zombie headlining. I was actually at the one where Rob Zombie was headlining and then had to stop after 2 songs because his voice was fucked up or something.
Oh man.
Yeah, there was almost like riots and shit. Yeah, and it was like the next morning, I think he was actually on social. He like posted like photos of his like vocal cords or something, like trying to prove like, seriously, man, I was fucked up. I couldn't perform.
Yeah.
But yeah, so interesting, like another show. I mean, again, Anthrax is at this one. Definitely a lot easier to get to. I just, as far as the draw, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking if I do any of them, I mean, it's July. I mean, it's close. We haven't been to a show forever, and I'm thinking maybe that Friday, and it's Anthrax, Of Mice and Men, Bad Wolves, All That Remains.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. I might do that day.
Cool, man. Yeah, well, we'll keep you posted. We can do you can do some Facebook Live on location.
You betcha.
You're like our Thrash Report field reporter. All
Helmet
right.
the Frog.
uh dude, so you're gonna trump me with some trivia. What's going on, man?
Yeah, they're not so much questions here, but just kind of funny things that I saw. Um, Mike Patton from Faith No More. I had no idea that he was a voiceover actor.
Oh yeah?
I saw this headline from a site that I'd never heard of before, and I read the headline and I thought, is this real? So I
Mm-hmm.
looked it up, and that he did all the survivors in I Am Legend were all voiced by Mike Patton. And the
Really?
filmmakers wanted those survivors to sound vaguely human-like, but kind of weird. So they started asking musicians to do the voices and settled on Patton.
Hmm.
So I know he's a goofy guy, and I haven't really heard I've heard his music and stuff, but that's awesome. And I was going through his IMDb, and he's done a lot of stuff.
Oh really? Dude, I haven't even thought to look at him on IMDb.
Yeah. So I was researching that, and then I came across this one, which I think I'd heard before, but going with the Simpsons and how they sort of apologized for a Judas Priest joke. So on an episode of The Simpsons, Judas Priest were called a death metal band, not heavy metal, which enraged the metal community. So next episode, on Bart's famous chalkboard at the very beginning of the episode, he wrote on the blackboard, Judas Priest is not death metal.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, that makes me think of South Park when all the hippies descend on South Park and they play Slayer to scare them all away.
Oh yeah?
And they always say, hippies hate death metal. Slayer is death metal.
Yeah. Dude, that was perfect. I didn't know you could totally do that impression. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't either. Glad it worked. But yeah, so I know we always say Slayer's thrash metal and they're kind of special on their own, but I've never considered them really death metal, maybe more of starting death metal, but
yeah.
I just thought of the Judas Priest being called death metal, made me think of the South Park too. So
Totally.
yeah.
We have so now we're gonna jump back.
Were you gonna try to stump me on some questions?
Oh, I did have a question. So okay. Remember, if you go way back when a certain somebody placed an ad in a magazine and these two people met.
Petfield Ulrich, the recycler.
God damn it. Yes, the name of it was, what was the publication that the ad was in? Yes, The Recycler. You fucker. Good one. All right, next week. There'll be another one next week. Don't worry.
Well, I know metal trivia, especially Metallica trivia, but I can't tie my shoes. That's where I wear Velcro. So it's, and every time I learn something new, something old goes away. So it's
That's good. I know metal trivia, but I can't tie my shoes.
afraid not.
So let's go ahead and look at some back in the day. We got some awesome stuff that came out years ago. And again, they stand, it's this stuff is timeless, right?
Yep.
It stands the test of time. This first one we're going to talk about will give you peace of mind. Yes. Believe it or not, this turns 38. This is their fourth studio album. It was released in 83, and by EMI in the UK. It was on Capitol here in the States. And this was the first album that had Nico on it. So Nico McBrain. Oh, dude, one of these days when we're down in Florida, we got to go check out his rib place. Doesn't he have like a barbecue place down there?
You stumped me.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh no.
He's got like I can't remember what it's called. I'm sure maybe someone in the chat knows, but yeah, they have like a barbecue rib place, and yeah, one of these days I'll go there. But anyway, first one with Nico. He had recently left the band Trust, and it was crazy because this album really was critical in the commercial success of the band. Reaching number 3 on the UK charts. Nice. And it achieved platinum in the UK and North America. It's pretty crazy, right?
Yep. And Flight of Icarus has always been one of my favorite songs, but one of my top two of all time, The Trooper on here. God, that's just
Yeah.
great song.
Yeah. And this is, it actually was also, it was the first, of the first four Iron Maiden albums that were not named after a song featured on the album. So, um, it says in the song "Still Life," which freaking well, every song fucking rules on this, but in the song "Still Life," it contains the expression "peace of mind," but it's spelled "peace of mind." It's spelled like peace,
Yep.
not peace of mind. Anyway,
Right. So
um,
you said Nickel McBrain used to be in Trust,
correct.
and correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that the band who did Antisocial and Anthrax covered?
Yes.
So is Nico on that recording?
Great question. I don't know. I will just do some research. We should know.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I guess you know what? I never really thought about it, but possibly. Dude, it all comes together, man.
Enter Thrash and all.
That's right. Yeah, I also I didn't realize too that the working title for this album through the recording process was "Food for Thought," and then once the band had decided that Eddie was going to be like lobotomized on the front cover, yeah, "Peace of Mind" was where it stuck. So yeah, one of my faves. It's pretty awesome. I know my dad. There was a point there where I was listening to it once in my dad's car. It was one of those rare occasions he let me put the cassette in, and he said that he just really didn't like the messaging. So it was
Yeah.
something about, I think it was "Still Life." It was like the lyrics about how it feels like I'm getting weaker every day or something. I don't know. This next one turns 30. And
Damn.
yeah, man, this is "Symbol of Salvation," the fourth album by Armored Saint, released in '91. This is probably the one that this is basically I kind of discovered them with this album, and then went back and listened to some of their earlier stuff. It was on Metal Blade back then. This was the first release that had Jeff Duncan, guitarist. And it's the last album before they went on hiatus. So, you know, they weren't doing anything from '91 to '99. It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy, right? The song, and one thing that I didn't really realize too is that the songs in this album were written and demoed in '88 and '89 with the original guitarist Dave Pritchard. Dave Pritchard actually died from leukemia in 1990 before they could actually record. So that's kind of a sad thing. I didn't realize that he was involved in those recording in the writing process. And interestingly enough, that this album was also produced by Dave Jordan. He had produced albums like Alice in Chains and Jane's Addiction, right? More commercially successful albums. And when this album, so he was actually picked to produce this album, but then he also went on to then produce Sound of White Noise in '93, which John Bush was his first album with Anthrax.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty crazy how those people kind of stick. It's all who you know, man.
Yeah. And Rain of Fire, man. That song.
Oh,
God, I
so
love
good.
that.
Yep.
Yeah. This is another one of those.
Yeah, pretty cool.
This is another one of those bands I need to listen to more. I've heard pieces here and there, and I enjoy it every time. Just because I love John Bush so much, and music's great too. But
Yep. Well, it's so weird too that all of a sudden you like when I saw that this album was turning 30, I quick jumped in and I'm like, dude, let me go listen to that. And I went to YouTube and I'm like, dude, John Bush had like giant hair. He had like hair.
yep.
It was so funny. Oh, that's awesome. So that kind of wraps up some of the content. One thing that I did want to remind people before we jump into some of the follow-up items is just to remind everyone that you can go to thrashreport.com and you have all of the links to our socials. You can email us at thethrashreport@gmail.com. we really do encourage you to visit thrashreport.com, and there you can also support us as well. Go ahead and click on support us at the top. Again, supporting sponsorships start at only 99 cents a month. We really appreciate it. It helps us bring new content every week. And lastly, merch. I can't tell you how thankful we are for those people that have purchased Thrash Report t-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers. Absolutely, we really do appreciate it. This helps us keep the podcast coming, and I can't tell you how it makes us feel when we're, cruising the Liquid Metal fan page.
Yep.
And somebody posts a picture of coffee. I mean, it's great, man.
Yeah, it's really cool. So it's cool that you're buying it, cool that you're supporting, and really cool that you're sharing it and showing other people that you bought it. And like Chris said, when we are scrolling through and we see that, it's a double take, like, hey, I know that logo. Hey, they bought our shit.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And the last thing we want to also mention, go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and just make sure that you leave a review. Right? I mean, we really do appreciate it, and that gets us, as we get voted up. I mean, it would be really great to be on that, on that front page, get us more listeners and stuff like that. So we really do appreciate it.
Yes, we do. Thank you.
And then I think some of the follow-up items that we're going to talk about, Jim, what do we got?
Again, same as the last couple of weeks, just Anthrax 40. They keep releasing more episodes. They're up to number 7 now, just came out yesterday morning, I think. So, they're going up to 40, and I've been watching them every couple days. They're only like 8 to 12 minutes long usually. And I don't know, it's just really cool to hear them talk about their progression. And, now they're up to Among the Living with episode 7. And, I'm obviously familiar with all their music and releases, but hearing them talk about it and then going back and listening to it again, it's been a while since I've listened to some of those old ones. And I was in the car most of the day today, so I was listening to Spreading the Disease, or you can abbreviate it STD. That kind of works out well.
Yeah, and even hearing Dave Mustaine saying how he loves AIR, and it's like, well, yeah, you should be playing that live, right? Hearing that, that's pretty awesome.
Yep. So listening to Spreading the Disease and Among the Living today, and just amazing albums. I've heard the hits a million times, but getting in the deep tracks too, they're so tight. The riffs are amazing. I've never really listened to it with like a musician's ear, so we're working on playing AIR on my guitar and got it down pretty well, but just listening to that and then just the other songs and like really listening to the riffs and how intricate they are and how fast the riffing is and jumping all over. Just, I don't know, it's like hearing them for the first time again in a way. And then
right,
just the sound quality too of Among the Living, how it jumps from Spreading the Disease, just sounds so much bigger and harnessed. Can't wait to hear the other 33.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I think I learned so much too, listening to them tell the stories, and again, I mean, going through and again, some of the stuff I've heard from Scott's book and some of the other resources out there, but when you hear, especially in the newest one, talking about getting a critically acclaimed producer, right, and it not turning out what their vision was, right? So having that debate, right? But in the end, I mean, it absolutely was some of the best. I mean, absolutely, best production, that they really brought with Among the Living. So it was pretty cool, pretty badass.
And I think for as often as we talk about Metallica, I think we've talked about Anthrax almost as much and kind of with a little more awe. So I think Anthrax should be named our official or unofficial band of the Thrash Report.
I'm down. I'm so down, dude.
Then it's done.
Well, they have to write our theme song.
Sounds good.
We'll make that happen.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Speaking of Anthrax, I saw today that dude, Frankie has a book coming out.
Yeah. I did not hear that.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't come out until like September, October timeframe, I think. Yeah, because I saw it. He had posted like an excerpt from the book and then the picture of the uh, hardcover, and he's like, "Yeah, you can pre-order now, getting a hardcover copy." So I immediately went to see if I could get a digital copy, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So then I went and looked it up, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't come out until this fall. But yeah, I'm excited. It'll be good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's really, I mean, I dig Frankie, and again, hearing him talk too about mixing and talking about finding that frequency in between Scott and Charlie, and didn't want to be drowned out by the drums or getting muddied up by the guitars, and it's pretty cool. So anyway, I'm excited for his book too.
Yeah, hopefully one of these days we can break some news that they're releasing an album or get a date. Or maybe we won't break the news, but we can share it with you.
Nice.
We know they're working on one, so hopefully we can have it soon.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, thank you, everybody. You got any follow-ups, or are we ready to wrap for today?
I think we're good, man.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, those of you watching live. And again, we'll have this posted soon. Have a great rest of your night, everybody. We will see you next time for our live podcast party next week.
Yeah.
Join us live again, Tuesday, the 25th, 8 p.m. You can join
Central
our
Time.
Central Time. Yes, thank you. Central Time. Yeah, we'll have a great time talking metal with others as well. So have a good one, and we'll talk to you next time on the Thrash Report. See you.
Break that stigma.
Dude. All right.
Over and out.